I would even go as far to say that Apex Toys is pretty much outdoing Outdo over here with this figure. You see, you get 3, let me repeat, 3 different face parts for a scale figure. Hi and welcome back to the channel, I'm Steven, and today we shall take a look at anime scale figure as well as third-party resin figure pre-orders between 26th of June all the way to 1st of July 2023. This is an absolute insane week for the past couple of days alone. Today, Saturday, the day I'm recording this, and Friday, yesterday, the sheer amount of scale figures being placed on pre-order is no joke. I have no idea why. Is this a very prosperous week, a very good feng shui week or something? Because when figure companies decide not to put anything on pre-order, we get those weeks that are very quiet, very few things. And then when figure companies decide to put something on pre-order, yeah, you get a huge deluge of figures in one single day, 2 days, which was exactly what happened this week. I have no idea what's going on anymore. But anyways, yeah, we are in for a long ride for today, and then there are resin figures to follow up later. Hopefully, yeah, the resin stuff are not as many in comparison. Now we are in AmiAmi.com, and as usual, firstly on top in the rankings. In second place, we have Azur Lane Taiho by Alter. Not surprised that she would be in the top 3. And then not many other skill figures somehow. Rounding up the top 10, we have 8th place, an original character, and 9th place Marin Kitagawa by Good Smile. Okay, now on the 1st of July, for a Saturday, this is a very stacked day. A lot of scale figures on this one day alone. Let's check them out one by one. The first one here from Konosuba, yeah, the latest one, the spin-off focusing on Megumin. We have Megumin Gothic Lolita dress version by Kadokawa. This is Kadokawa special set. 1/7 scale, 24,200 yen. So for the special set, you are getting, let's see, you're getting a B2 wall scroll. And if you're not interested in the special set, yeah, she is only 19,000 yen. Not too bad of a price for 1/7 scale figure, which is this detailed. Normally, when it comes to Megumin, I would want a figure of her in her red color outfit, you know, and her casting an explosion magic or something like that. Where Eastream and, was it Furyu, did make a figure of. But this one right here is not bad at all. Yeah, that Chunibyo pose right there, and the outfit on this is, wow, elegant. I love this outfit. Yeah, this is, in the end, this is a very simple 1/7 scale figure, but then at least we get some decent amount of details on the outfit. This won't be my first choice for any Megumin figure, but this is a solid addition to the collection nonetheless. She looks great over here. Up next, we have Yingsui Snowy Pines Warmth version from Azur Lane 1/7 scale by Hobby Max Japan. Almost 30,000 yen. This looks more like a bonsai plant to me rather than an actual figure. Yeah, it looks like something I would display next to my other plants in my personal garden at home or something like that. I think I like the one made by, was it Apex? There was another company which has already released her figure at this point. For 30,000 yen, you're getting this entire package over here, the background, the backdrop. I don't think this is expensive at all given the entire set you're getting over here. And then there is the second character. This is where things get expensive because you will want her other twin, right? So in the end, you're looking at spending almost 60,000 yen, not yet including shipping. So her other twin over here, Chauho Plum Blossoms Illumination version, 1/7 scale for the same price, almost 30,000 yen. You see, I'm not very familiar with Azur Lane characters. So initially, when I looked at the product listing in AmiAmi, I was asking myself, why did Hobby Max make 2 different versions of the very same character and putting them on pre-order on the very same day nonetheless? And then it was only then I noticed that the hair color is the exact opposite. Like, you know, Chauho, her black color is on the left side, and then Yingsui is on the right side. And then I realized, oh, that is more like a twin rather than the same character. So yeah, I wasn't aware of that. To me, it doesn't make sense to buy only one. If you go for Chao Ho, you will want Ying Sui as well. And that makes this a very expensive pair at almost 60,000 yen. So will you buy it? Let me know down in the comments below. Up next, this is top 3 best skill figure of the week. And I am so attracted to this figure that I'm thinking of pre-ordering one. Just because, well, the sheer amount of details on this Azur Lane figure over here is no joke. Well, Azur Lane and Arknights, right, these two series, I have resisted for so long. And I know that eventually I will give in to some of their figures, and this is one of them over here. New Jersey Snow White Ceremony version 1/7 skill by Apex. This is their new flagship figure, surpassing Ningguang from Genshin Impact. And even higher end figure, you see Ningguang was around 32,000-33,000 yen or so. This is an additional 10,000 yen on top. And it is immediately clear why. You see, it is not just about the base over here. This thing is going to take up a massive amount of space, make no mistake. You're getting a base and those columns behind her, right? The dress can be removed, it can be casted off. And you know the face expression, you're getting different face parts for you to swap out. Okay, this is the first face over here. When you look at the details around her arm, all those small details. I have always been a sucker for details, you see. Look at that. Wow. And then this bouquet of flowers over here. Look at the semi-transparent dress. Her high heels are also filled with details, though I'm not sure if I like that metal pack being visible over there. But that is just a small issue because her wedding dress is going to cover it, right? More flowers, very detailed flowers. And you see you get 3, let me repeat, 3 different face parts for a skill figure. 43,000 yen? Man, I think this is the first time I'm seeing 3 different face plates for a skill figure. And given the entire package we're getting over here, I think I might pre-order it in Apex Toys official store in China. Yeah, because with huge figures like this, shipping from China is a lot cheaper than shipping from Japan. So I'm considering this figure very seriously. I might put her pre-order deposit budget under my July budget. Since this figure is coming out in late 2024, plenty of time to save up for her. I would even go as far to say that Apex Toys is pretty much outdoing Outdo over here with this figure. And then up next, also from Apex Toys, this one is a lot more reasonable in pricing, 21,000 yen. Dusk Ukiyo no Kaze version from Arknights at 21,000 yen, 1/7 skill. Okay, so let's have a look at the pictures. This figure, the color may be on the dull side of things, like the colors are rather washed out, but it is quite attractive to me, and I think it is all down to details again, you see. Yeah, those fine details on her outfit and that, what is that, triangular pattern around her skirt, that is not something you see often. Yeah, this figure is really full of details and at 21,000 yen, not bad at all. Also, I may have said it before that I don't like simple round disc bases, but this one, there is some unique texture going on, like they actually put in effort over here. So this is something, man, highly recommended. Go for it, 21,000 yen for something like this. Oh, this week is insane and we are just getting started, you see. Now the next one over here from Furyu's affordable Tenitol series, we have Spy Classroom Lily, 6,350 yen. This is also one of the better looking Tenitol figures out there. I've said it a number of times by now, their Haikyuu figures were horrible. But this one, hey, you know Kadokawa made a figure of this character for like 21,000 yen, 24,000 yen also. While that one wasn't bad, I don't think I can justify spending 25,000 yen or more for an anime character from a seasonal anime. Now 6,000 plus yen feels more like it. So this one is really not a bad purchase for 6,300 yen. Up next, we have another expensive skill Miku figure by Furyu, Hatsune Miku Techno Magic version at 1/7 skill, almost 33,000 yen. This one is coming out in November 2024. Okay, so more than a year of waiting. The one thing that felt really weird for this Miku figure is the length of the legs. Yeah, the legs look rather long, but I believe that this is just the art style. You see, the entire character is very slender, very thin and tall. They are using her hair as a support for the figure, and I do wonder how will the figure last over time, right? Like, will the whole figure buckle down due to its own weight, you know? Her hair has to support the weight of the main figure. But I'm certain that a very experienced figure brand like Furyu would have figured it out how to do it without affecting the figure too much. So this figure is actually very unique in the sense that we are looking at a levitation pose over here. The main character is floating and there is no obvious metal rod or plastic rods or any stands to prop up the figure. So in this regard, I can see why this figure is pretty expensive. Up next, okay, we have a pair of Ram and Ram figures, military version from Furyu, 23,650 yen. And these are not really big figures, I can already tell from these pictures. So 24K is standard price for 1/7 scale nowadays. But the one thing I couldn't understand is that why? Why did this even need to exist? But then again, I could have asked the very same question for over 100 other Ram and Ram figures out there. Yeah, like why did they even exist? Because this isn't the theme of the anime. ReZero isn't a warfare anime, it isn't a war anime. And in the end, I believe this is based off artworks, manga covers, light novel covers, and so on. Purely fan service. That's all for 1st of July. Now we move down to 30th of June. Now there is a huge amount of figure releases and figure pre-orders on this one single Friday. I guess that figure companies, they also have their deadlines, you know, like by the end of June 30th, we need to put this many figures on pre-order and release these many figures. So pretty much everyone is rushing the deadline. That is my guess over here. Because corporate culture, they are kind of like that in some ways, you know. They like to rush things in the last minute. Now the first one over here, we have Javelin Blissful Purity version, 1/7 scale from Azur Lane. This is by Mimeyoi, Chinese brand, going for almost 24,000 yen. Now this is a fairly unique figure in the sense that, yeah, the base, of course, it has to be the base. That looks like a jazz piece to me somehow, and it is transparent. There has been several figures of this character already, Javelin. Even though I'm unfamiliar with Azur Lane characters, this is one of the more well-known ones from what I can recall. That Apex figure earlier of New Jersey is so much better that this figure, not a bad figure, is beginning to look a bit pedestrian to me. So there is a cheaper version here for 22,780 yen. You just lose some bonus stuff if you're not into that, yeah. Up next, we have another Azur Lane figure. Like, how many has it been already? Serious White Rose version 1/7 scale from Wave, 21,230 yen. Yeah, after seeing that New Jersey figure earlier, everything is starting to look a bit too normal to me. This one for 21,000 yen is not too bad though, even though the color is on the bland side of things, because yeah, she is sitting on that turret or cannon over there. So you get a bit of extra things on top of the main figure and a simple round disc base. So the value proposition here is not too bad. And Wave, their scale figures are kind of okay too. Their quality is not bad. There's a cheaper version, 20,790 yen, just that you lose those army bonus stuff. And next one here, Rose Fox Girl Blooming in Midwinter, illustrated by Taco, by Max Cute at 1/6 scale, 18,340 yen. This is one of the nicer looking illustrations that has been made into a figure so far. There is a cheaper version, 17,900, not that big of a difference, so maybe just go for the more expensive version over here. This figure is cast-offable, by the way, so you will be swapping out parts for the torso, the body, making this quite a value purchase at just under 19,000 yen. This looks like one of those Azur Lane or Kankole characters to me as well. They are quite similar. Okay. I don't think this is a body part swapping. Maybe you're actually just removing the clothes literally over here. So I have to wonder what is the mechanism like. There you go. Can be casted off. I think you're really just removing the clothes, not body swapping over here, because I can already see the clothes are semi-transparent, translucent over here. Mainly, I like this figure for the face expression rather than anything else, so Max Cute really needs to get the face done right. Up next, this is also top 3 best of the week together with the new jersey figure by Apex earlier. Taiho Phoenix Spring Song version 1/7 skill by Outdo, 36,360 yen, coming out in March. You know, March 2024 release is like 9 months away, which is really fast for something made by Outdo. I don't know how are they going to achieve this, or maybe they just overpromise you guys first and then choose to delay it later on because Outdo equals later, right? Anyways, I guess we can all agree that she needs a new pair of clothes, a new set of clothes. Like, go to a tailor and have everything measured all over, because her huge lumps of fat on her chest are going to spill out any moment. Yeah, the clothes are too tight for her. But that is the main reason why we are buying or pre-ordering this figure, right? Yeah, I know that 36,000 yen is a lot, but for the entire package over here, I would say it is on the reasonable side of things. Like I said earlier, it is just a matter of time before I cave into one of these Azur Lane figures. But then, the Apex one earlier, I like the one just a bit more, just because it is something different for once, for a wedding dress figure. The next one here, this is something completely unexpected to me, like an expensive premium skill figure from an anime which can be considered to be pretty old by now. Haruhi Suzumiya Season 1, year 2006. Season 2, year 2008, and the movie was around year 2013 or so. So this is at least 10 years old. Yuki Nagato maid version, going for 24,800 yen. Maid is under Miyuki, which is one of those upcoming figure brands, fairly new brands that I am keeping an eye on because I do think the figures they make are great. So eventually one day, I think I'll pick up a figure by this brand Miyuki. As for Nagato Yuki, well, I don't know if they are only making this character or they plan to make Asahina Mikuru as well as Suzumiya Haruhi later on. And that metal rod, come on man, come on. At least the base is very compact though. I do wonder whether the final base is exactly like this or this is just misleading advertisement. I have no idea. If this is the actual base, that has to be one of the smallest bases I've seen in any skill figure out there. Up next, this is also a really nice one. Rainbow Red Apple illustration by Starcat, 1/6 scale by Hobby Sakura, 23,000 yen. And there's a cheaper version, 2,000 yen less for 21,000 yen. Okay, so to me, the proportions of this character looks a bit weird because, yeah, the legs are kind of short, don't you think? She has short legs, but other than that, I think the upper half of the figure, this picture over here, she looks great. And the face expression is fairly attractive to me. But then, once I look at the whole picture, including the legs, yeah, it feels looking like a chicken to me somehow. The next one here, this is one of the few expensive figures of the week which I can't recommend. I'll explain that in a moment. Ikomochi original character Black Bunny Aoi and White Bunny Natsume 2 figure set for 41,620 yen. 1/6 scale, a pair of figures, 41k, not too bad. This is made by Enso Toys, which I don't know anything of. First time I'm seeing this name, by the way. Or you can get each for 21,560 yen, which I really don't see the point. If you want it, get both, which makes the pair here a bit slightly better in value. However, the first thing that I look at this pair of figures, the first impression I have is that this is what freeing does at 1/4 scale, and then you shrink it down to 1/7 scale. So when I look at things this way, I don't find this pair of figures to be attractive in any way. So in the end, this pair of figures are really reserved for those who know something about the illustrator behind these two characters, the origin illustrator, you like the illustrator a lot and you want to support them, you want to buy a figure of that very artwork, then maybe pick one up. But other than that, this is one of the more boring figures this week that is rather expensive. Well, not exactly expensive when you look at it this way, 2 figures at 1/6 scale, but still plenty boring to look at. Up next, Tamano Kejama original character Pure Succubus List normal version 1/6 scale by Enso Toys as well, 21,560 yen. Now this one looks a lot better compared to that pair of bunny figures by the same company. Yeah, the face and the hair over there, it looks fantastic. And look at the gradient paintwork on the wings. They're black color wings with some turquoise at the edges. Very nice. And are we getting... Oh, okay. That is getting some kind of unique base over there. I think it's something similar to cloth. I think some other etchy figures, they use that material for their bases. Yeah, this figure looks so much better in comparison. A fairly detailed figure for 22,000 yen. So in the end, I don't think this is a problem with the manufacturer, the brand, and Soul Toys, but rather, yeah, it all boils down to the original character design over here. This one is something I can recommend, assuming Soul Toys does deliver, based on what we see in these product photos. Up next, from CA Works, which is Chara Ani, by the way, they work with Kadokawa. From Rent a Girlfriend with Chizuru Mizuhara Party Dress version at 22,000 yen. This is a special edition which you're getting special rubble mat. Okay? So if you are not into merchandise, then yeah, she is 19,250 yen. This is definitely not the best figure of Mizuhara out there. There are so many better figures of her. So I don't think this one, even at 19,000 yen, is quite the tough sell. She might be discounted later on because the Good Smile version, which I like a lot, can be had for 16,000 yen nowadays. So I find it hard to justify why I would pay 19,000 yen for this figure of Mizuhara. Rent a Girlfriend, I know that it is one of the more frustrating anime to watch because the main character is an absolute idiot, but at the same time, I like it when an anime is more different than usual. It is something unique for once, right? At least we don't have a main character which is surrounded by a harem, very popular, very handsome and overpowered. For once, we don't have that kind of nonsense which is way too common. So in that sense, I do appreciate Rent a Girlfriend the way it is. Up next, from Tokyo Revengers, we have Ken Ryoguchi Volume 25 cover illustration made by Orange Roach. Good Smiles, male character figure brand somehow. 18,000 yen after discount. That is a great price because look at the outfit. Amazingly detailed. Yeah, and there is some kind of texture on the surface of the base. You can't really tell from this picture. I'm not sure if it is just, a coating or a sticker, but nonetheless, yeah, 18,000 yen for this kind of detail, really not bad at all. So you might want to pick one up. This is something for the fangirls, of course. Up next, this is a re-release from Wave. We have a 1/7 scale Makise Kurisu from Steins Gate lab coat style. So 16,700 yen, right? That is amazing value. However, I'm not sure if I like the face of this version of Makise Kurisu. Maybe this is based on the original artwork on wherever it came from. Yeah, the face over here, it looks kind of weird. Like, it is a bit too elongated to my liking. This has to be the original art style of wherever it came from. So it does not look like what we see in the anime at all. You get a second faceplate at 16,000 yen, so not really a bad purchase. However, I would rather save up a bit more and go for the one made by Good Smile where she is being surrounded by a bunch of retro looking televisions. That is something unique, something different, right? It is not very often you come across a figure that gives off this retro vibe from the 1980s, 1990s. Up next, we have Pop-Up Parade, Rei Ayanami long hair version. Is this a re-release? This figure should be out already, right? But anyways, If you could find one in stock and you do like her, yeah, pick one up. Otherwise, you wait for this second release. There is no need to pre-order pop-up rates in general. Up next, we have Yoichi Isagi from Blue Lock at 1/7 skill by Furyu. Okay, this one is fairly pedestrian, normal looking in comparison. I think Furyu made another Blue Lock figure which was very dynamic in pose. Yeah, she was dashing forward, right? And that one was plenty attractive. And this one is such a huge contrast, like looks rather boring in comparison. Yeah. This is what I call the Verka pose, you know, in Gundam model kits. Whenever that is a version, Hajime Katoki version, the box art of the Gundam is just standing there and doing nothing. Yeah, whenever a figure is standing there and doing nothing, I call it a Verka pose. It's not like you guys have much choices, right? If you want a figure from Blue Lock. So yeah, up to you really. Up next, we have another expensive real kimono fabric figure from Yoshitoku and Phoenix. This time around, it is Ai Kizuna at 170 Japanese yen almost. So that is, yeah, $1,200 almost. People who collect these things, right, they are at another level. I'm not even close. No offense to you guys who love Ai Kizuna out there. Is she still relevant nowadays? Because, yeah, I don't hear people talking about her as if she is like an idol of the past. Nowadays, the focus is on other idols or VTubers, right? I don't hear people talking about her that much nowadays. Up next, we have Chinese character. So, this is Xian. Which word over there is her name actually? I'll just scroll down for a while. Okay, her name is Zhaoling and then she is from Chinese Paladin, Sword and Fairy. 26,000 yen from Weavers Studio, a Chinese brand. Now, I know nothing about this character. Could be from a Chinese anime or a Chinese RPG game. Yeah, and it couldn't get any more Chinese than this in terms of the character design. And getting this box, I'm not sure what it is. But anyways, yeah. This is not a bad looking figure based on this artwork. And then yeah, there we go. This is a cheaper version, a lot cheaper at 17,760 yen, but you do lose the base and the unique background. Personally, I would pay more for the deluxe version earlier, yeah. Up next, we have Natsumi Takahashi illustrated by Neko Metaru, 1/6 scale, 30,000 yen. This is one of those figures where if I place it on my shelf, yeah, I would be immediately attracted to it because of the colors alone. This is a fairly unique character itself in terms of the character design. Oh, come on, give us a second faceplate, a Hegao faceplate. I think she is suited for it. Lovely is a Chinese figure brand, and while I know nothing about them, the figures they are coming out with lately, they are really getting my attention a lot. Up next, another expensive figure on the very same day. Remember, we are still looking at figures on Friday. We still have Monday to Thursday to go. KD Call Overlord 4 Bright version Albedo and Sheltier Kadokawa special set for 56,000 yen, coming out in July 2023, which is very soon. Maybe this figure has been in production for a while already and they decided to take a second round of pre-orders. While 56,000 yen is not too expensive for a pair of figures, but at the same time, this is the kind of figure which I really don't like because, you know, I paid almost 60,000 yen for this pair of figures, including shipping. And when this figure sits on my shelf, all I get to see every day are their faces. You know, that is the problem with these figures which are on a lying pose, lying flat on the ground. You can't really appreciate the full details of the figure, including the body, the torso, and so on. So normally, I'm not really a fan of figures of lying poses, like lying flat on the ground, just like this pair of figure over here. Up next, this is a second order. Kadokawa ReZero Ram Graceful Beauty version, 25,000 yen. She is coming out in August 2023. Yeah, I wonder why they put Ram up for a second round of pre-order but not Ram yet. Maybe next week. This one has been on pre-order for the past half a year or so, I think. Yeah. And one of those gram figures that I don't like as well, because it is not accurate to her character, her personality. And finally, we are done with figures on the 30th of June. We move up to the 29th of June. More scale figures today, but at least lesser. The first one over here, this is something that will trigger the SJWs over in Instagram and yeah, Twitter as well, just because this is the child version of Raphtalia from the Rising of Shield Hero, and moreover, she is wearing a very seductive night dress, the kind you wear to bed to seduce a boyfriend. Yeah, but anyways, Raphtalia, and something that is not a typical bunny suit, you know, that tight bodysuit with stockings, something different. So you might want to consider picking up this one, especially when you can display her without those bunny ears. So this is not a typical 1x4 bunny figure in some ways. Up next, I could say that this is one of the worst figures of the week, simply because the face is a bit weird. Fantasy Star Online 2 ES, we have Jean Summer Vacation at 1x7 scale for 19,800 yen, and if you are not interested in the Ami bonus stuff, 17,820 yen. Now let's take a look at the figure and we'll talk about her face for a second over here. Yeah, to me her face looks rather flat, don't you think? Like, she crashed into the wall and then her face became flattened. That is what it looks like to me over here. And then, yeah, not much details going on with the figure as well. It just looks so weird somehow. I think it is the shape of the head overall. Now, I think Kotobukiya made a figure of this same character from Fantasy Star Online 2. I'm not sure what the aftermarket is like nowadays, but I do believe that would be a way better purchase. Yeah, like way better. Up next, also one of the worst figures this week. The story of a manga artist who was imprisoned by a strange high school girl, Konata competition swimsuit and cat lingerie costume set. 28,600 yen. You're getting two different torsos or bodies with this figure. This is made by Kaitendo, so it is no wonder that the figure isn't as well made. They are grade B-, grade C figure company. Yeah, the stuff they make are not that great. There's a cheaper version over here without the Ami bonus for 25,740 yen. So the main problem with this figure lies in the sculpt alone. You see with clothes, right, even swimsuit, there will be some creases and folds. And there is absolutely none of that on this figure. So the figure looks very plain and simple, like there is a huge lack of details in the outfit. You see that? This almost looks like price figure quality to me. I guess you guys can agree with me when you look at this official product pictures alone. There is an absence of fine details no matter where you look. And the only saving grace for this figure is to get a second body, second torso. Or are you getting two entire different and separate figures? I'm not too sure at this point. But then again, regardless of whether you're getting two separate figures or not, I don't think it is worth it. And one more thing, the base is way too oversized for this figure. Why is the base so big? Up next, oh yes. With this figure, you're buying a sword and getting the figure for free. Okay, so we have Tsukihime, a piece of blue glass moon, shield, 7th holy scripture, 3rd cause of death, blade. 1x7 scale by Good Smile Company, 24,000 yen for this is an absolute bargain, though the shipping cost for this item is guaranteed to be crazy high. Yeah, this is buying a sword and getting the figure for free. Yep, half of the cost of the figure probably went to the sword, I don't know. But this is something I am really looking forward to. I won't pre-order it now, but there is a very high chance I would purchase it after release. After all, Tsukihime is technically under Type Moon universe, just like Fate series. And what is there not to like about this figure? Other than the very fact that she won't fit inside your display case. Yeah, this is on my watch list and wish list in MFC. Up next, pop-up rate of Chisei Hattori from Mahou Sukai no Yome Season 2, 4,080 yen. Doesn't look very inspiring to me. The outfit, yeah, very dull. So wait for after release my usual comment for pop upgrade figures in general. The same can be said for Elias Ainsworth L size 7,500 yen. Same thing. I don't see a need to pre-order it. Wait for after release. Check out user photos before picking up. Up next, we have another Arknights figure. This week is like Arknights or Azur Lane everywhere. Suter, how do you pronounce that? Suter Colorful Wonderland CW03 version, based on an artwork. 1/7 scale by Mietos, 24,000 yen. This is also a fairly unique figure. She is on, what do you call that? That thing we see on the beach. Yeah. I'm not sure what it is called. My brain is not functioning well at the moment. I need to think about so many things. Yeah, but this is not something you see very often. In fact, I think it is the first time I'm seeing a figure being placed on this kind of mat you see people hang between trees on the beach. This is a fabulous figure for 24,000 yen, and Mietos as a Chinese brand is one of the better brands out there. Go for this figure if you like this character. I can recommend it. Up next, from Tenitol, Furyu's affordable figure series, we have I from Oshinoko, 5,800 yen. Now, the face on this version of I isn't as nice as those Kadokawa and Furyu scale figures of her at 20,000 yen or so. Understandably, this is a cheaper version of her figure, but at least based on these official product photos, she looks fairly well made for 5,800 yen figure. So this one might not be a bad option for those of you on a budget. You're even getting a unique base, at 5,800 yen. They could have given us a plain disc base and left things at that. But I do believe that they are giving this figure a unique base because, this figure will lean if there is no additional support on her left knee. So they need that love-shaped thing over there just to support the figure. This is more of a need to support the figure rather than being generous at this point, I think. Up next, Mia illustration by YD, 1/7 scale by Astrum Design, Chinese brand as well, and also one of the better brands out there, 19,580 yen. And there's a cheaper version for 17,380 yen. So the expensive one, you are getting a Gengar wall scroll 30x60 centimeters. Right. I think Astrum Design, I'm starting to to identify them for making figures where every character is wearing a face mask. Yeah. This one, this is one of those weird butts again, like with some girls, female characters, right? The butt is so impossibly round that it starts to make not a lot of sense when you look at things from an anatomical standpoint, but then you don't question anime logic. Yeah, very round ass right there. But the gold color suit, man, sublime. This may be a very simple figure, but that gold color face mask and the outfit over there is quite attractive in its own way. Of course, we get a second face without the mask, but with figures from Astrum Design, given how they are known for figures of characters with masks, I would say I will display her with the mask on, right? Up next, this figure, Hatsune Miku GT Project Racing Miku 2022. Tropical version, 1/7 scale by Max Factory, 23,000 yen. One of the few figures this week which I also can't recommend. Like, stay away from this. 23,000 yen for a simple standing pose figure of Hatsune Miku does not make any sense. She is going to bargain bin after release, and I would say there is a 9 out of 10 chance of that happening at all. This thing could be had for 16,000 yen at most, so wait for after release before buying. And given that this is a tropical version, she does look very tropical indeed. Perhaps give us a pineapple base because pineapple is synonymous with being tropical, right? Up next, 92M illustration, Kinshi no Ane Date-chan, swimsuit version, limited edition by Union Creative, 18,700 yen. Okay, once again, a very plain and simple bikini figure, which Union Creative is very fond of nowadays. They're making so many of these figures. And the only logic I could think of why they would bother is because they are actually popular, in Japan at least. Like, everyone loved the illustrator behind these characters that they would buy the figures, right? For me, I don't see the appeal with a figure like this. Next one over here, Marin Kitagawa swimsuit version 1/7 scale from my dress up darling. This is an amazing value for money. You see, this thing is under 12,000 yen. And Union Creative is asking for 18,700 yen for also a bikini swimsuit figure. This is why I find it hard to justify a lot of those original character figures by Union Creative. Okay, so with Marin Kitagawa, she is like a fan favorite for the past year and a half. And despite the seasonal anime and having ended so long ago, the popularity is still there. To be honest with you guys, I did not expect my review on two of her resin figures to be that popular. Yeah, it exceeded my expectations, so really I underestimated her fan base over here. Now this one is a no-brainer to me. If you don't want to take any risk with third-party resin figures which they might screw up the face, this is so cheap, just go for this one and you will be happy with it. If you want something a bit more unique, yeah, Aniplex has a figure of her for about 20,000 yen or so, where she is measuring herself on a futon. This is the value pre-order of the week, make no mistake. If you don't want to wait until after release to score a bargain, you want to pre-order this now, I won't even blame you for it because 11,500 yen is insane value right here. Up next, we have a pop-up rate of Aoi Todo from Jujutsu Kaisen 4,080 yen. Same advice all over again. Wait for after release before buying in stock items. Same thing here, pop-up rate Goblin Slayer 2, Priestess L size. Okay, this is L size, interesting. 7,500 yen. Despite being an L size pop-up rate, where there is less chance of screwing up, I assume, because the figure is not too small, not as difficult to paint on the budget, I would still wait for after release before buying. Yeah. And lastly, we have the Queen's Essential Quintuplets Ichika Nakano Wedding version 1/7 scale for 28,600 yen by Amakuni in collaboration with Ami Ami. So this is an Ami Ami exclusive. Now, I have always voiced my opinion on my dislike and my disdain for wedding dress figures because I see them as more of a fan service and an easy way to grab money from the fans of that particular anime character because, well, you may need a lot of material for that huge wedding dress over there, but in the end, the whole thing is just white color, too plain and simple to my liking. There are exceptions, of course, like that blue jersey figure earlier by Apex. That thing it is something different, you know. And this figure of Ichika Nakano over here is like an exact polar opposite of that new jersey figure earlier. Also wedding dress, but too plain, too simple to give me any reason to purchase one. Yeah. Not to mention the Queen's Essential Quintuplets. I've lost count how many figures already. Certainly not at the level of Tokisaki Kurumi from Dead Alive or Ram and Ram, but still a lot, right? So this one is quite difficult for me to justify. The figures I have covered for the past 20 minutes or so, yeah, I've covered everything starting from 29th to 28th of June all the way to Monday because I was trying to speed things up. Way too many figures this week. So that is all for the figure pre-orders on AmiAmi.com. Fortunately for this week on niningame.com, there is nothing extra that is exclusive for me to cover. So you just have to check out those Nikan Shoujo figures by Insight on your own. If you are into that, they are very X-rated for me to put on screen. And now we shall check out third-party resin figures. Fortunately, there are not too many this week that is of interest to this channel, female characters. And as usual, we'll make use of OzGK, which is an affiliate partner of this channel. As usual, for every single resin figure I am about to cover, there is an affiliate link in the descriptions below. If you want to pre-order one, yeah, make use of the links below. It will really help out this channel a lot. Now we are in OzGK, and as usual, we scroll down to the newest pre-order section. So I've chosen the figures I want to cover, mostly female characters. And this website, they also open pre-orders for licensed PVC figures, mainly from Chinese brands like Mietos and Apex Toys and so on. I'm skipping past those because, well, I have already covered them in my army section for genuine skill figures, I'm focusing on only resin figures right here. So the first one over here, okay, this is not exactly a pre-order. I suspect that this is already in stock, though we will really need to message them to ask whether it is actually available, because pre-orders have closed within minutes after they posted the link, so they might have extra stock lying around. CP Studio 1x4 skill SDEV from Akame ga Kill. Now this is something memorable. $403 for 1x4 skill. Okay, so Akame ga Kill, right? From what I'm aware of, since I don't read the manga, the anime strayed very far away from the original manga. Like in the anime, everyone died except for one character. So yeah. And SDEV is one of those antagonist characters, bad guys, right? Which a lot of fans love. So it is no surprise that given so many genuine figure brands ignored characters like this, a third party is going to do something about it at some point, and this one does look fabulous. I personally am not a fan of realistic looking faces. I mentioned it a number of times, but when I look past the face, right, the entire package of this figure is amazing. This is great. So $403 for a figure that is over 40 centimeters tall, made of resin and polystone. It is actually not too expensive, though yeah, shipping cost is going to hurt for sure. So while pre-orders are closed, you can still make a full payment, which I suspect they have stock lying around. If you're interested, do message them to inquire about it. Up next, okay, so we have STS Studio Pokemon Tech Girl Series Sightseer. This one at 1x8 scale is $100, and at 1x20 scale, $60. 1x20 scale, why? Why would you do that? This is the one thing I don't get. This figure is plain and simple enough. Why would you make anything smaller than 1x8, right? Anyways, if you like Pokemon stuff, I find it hard to recommend anything else other than the one Kotobukiyas have been making. Up next, from Poke House Studio and MG Studio, we have Pokemon Solgaleo and Lunala and Cosmogi and Cosmoem and Dress Lily. Okay. There are multiple characters in this one single listing. I was so confused for a moment. So this one, full payment. Okay, for 1x8 scale Lily, $169. 1x20 scale Y, $72. And then for Solgaleo, this one over here. Oh, so that is the name of a Pokemon. You see, I don't watch Pokemon, right? $162. And then Lunala, $167. I'm actually concerned about how the figure is leaning backwards, but then again, this is resin. Resin is a more rigid material and does not get affected by heat or environmental temperature as much. So maybe it is not as big of an issue with resin. Recently, I'm seeing a rise in the sheer number of, Pokemon figures. Up next, from Xingxiang Studio, this is an original character, Ice Rhyme, and going for $751, presumably 1x4 scale. Oh no, this is a 1x6 scale, but then again, she is over 50 centimeters tall due to the size of the base. Yeah, I think half of the amount you're paying for over here is for the base and for the backdrop and overall, yep. This is a very magical looking character, yeah. Something that you buy based on whether you like the character design. Once again, yeah, this thing is, it feels magical. It feels like looking at some character from Disney's Frozen, for example. Yeah, but then again, not really my kind of figure with this one. Up next, this is one of the highlight resin figures this week. From Fenghua Studio, we have Honkai Star Rail, Kafka, and Trailblazer going for $545 for two figures over here, which is not too bad. 1x6 scale. Okay, yeah. Moreover, they are customable, so making this quite the value purchase. Honkai Star Rail, from what I know, is one of the upcoming games that is becoming very popular, like Genshin level popularity. But then again, there is a lack of figures of any kind from genuine figure makers. So naturally, third-party companies are jumping on the opportunity over here. This pair of figures, they look great. I'm not sure if I like their faces though. Not really a bad purchase at $550 or so. The next one here, okay, we actually have quite a number of weird resin figures this week. This is just the first one. From SC Studio, we have that Removal Tempest from that slime anime. That's what I call it. This one is $236, presumably 1/6 scale at this price anyway. Yeah, no scale mentioned. Oh, 28 centimeters. There you go. It is 1/6 scale. So I'm not going to click on other pictures, but then Removal Tempest, he does not have a gender, you see. He is a slime. That thing will proliferate by binary fission. If he chooses to reproduce, of course. So they had to be very specific with how this is the female version. So this is one of those degenerate figures, and a very specific one. You want a figure of Removal Tempest, and you want him or her in the most compromised position as possible. Up next, we have a very nice figure of Anya Forger from Waku Waku Studio at 1/6 scale. This one is going for $100. This is quite a nice looking figure of Anya, but not a very big one. Yeah, and one of you commented in my Facebook page when I posted this figure on the concern of her left leg over there, because will the figure lean over time? This is a very top heavy figure, and one single very thin leg is being attached to the base. Now I can understand that the concern over there, but let me explain the difference between resin and PVC. You see, resin and PVC, you think of the comparison between ceramic and hard grade plastic. See? Okay, so ceramic is a very hard material, almost like glass, but it shatters easily. Resin is also like that. So I wouldn't be too concerned about the leaning part, not to mention they are guaranteed to use a metal rod for the foot peg. Meanwhile, because PVC is softer, has a lower melting point, it is also more susceptible to temperature changes and leaning and so on, but it does not shatter or fracture as easily. So think of the difference between ceramic and plastic, and you get a rough idea on the difference between resin and PVC. $100 is actually fairly expensive for a small figure of Anya, but hey, she does look great though. Up next, another degenerate figure, we have Raiden Shogun from Genshin Impact by Lao Wangne, Mei Studio and AC Studio. This one is going for $210 at 1/6 scale. So this is all I'm going to click on. I'm not going to click on other pictures. You already have a rough idea what to expect. But then, this is not the best Raiden Shogun figure this week. I guarantee you that, because you are about to see something a lot more amusing after a few figures from this one over here. Up next, from Diamond Studio, we have Zaku Machine Girl. Yeah, about a couple of weeks ago, we had Strike Freedom Girl. Now we get Zaku. Very interesting concept. No official price yet, other than a $100 deposit, and not enough pictures yet, so I can't recommend you guys to pre-order until after we get to see her face. These are more like teaser pictures, you know. Yeah, we don't know what her face looks like yet at this point. Up next, from Dodo Studio, we have Overlord Nabrel Gamma. So the standard version is $214 and the high-end version, which you get a better base, $289. The thing I don't understand is that this doesn't look like a figure to me. I think it might be a figure, but at the same time, I feel like I'm looking at a digital render, a 3D art, rather than an actual figure. This one over here, this is the deluxe version where you're getting this base. And then, yeah, this is the standard version. To me, the figure looks rather robotic, like not very human, no? So, to me, it looks a bit weird, to be honest, this figure right here. These are indeed pictures of the figure. I thought I was looking at a 3D render. The next one here from Chai Studio, we have Nico Robin from One Piece. So many figures of her in the recent weeks. At 1/6 scale, $175 US. This is one of the better values among the resin figures this week. And especially for One Piece, right? And also Dragon Ball, for example. These third-party companies, they are so experienced in making figures of characters from this series that they might be more experienced than even the genuine figure brands itself. So whenever they make figures from One Piece or Dragon Ball or those mainstream shonen stuff, they are so good at it that it makes less sense to buy a genuine figure by Mega House or Bandai. So in this sense, this figure will turn out to be very well made. I don't expect the face or anywhere else of the figure to go wrong, right? Up next, we have an original character, Katrina from Chifeng Studio. This one is going for $345 US for the grey version, grey hair. And there is a brunette version for the same price as well. This one is 1/5 scale, a fairly huge figure. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the pictures over here. The grey hair version does look quite a bit better in my opinion. Oh, gym set, very interesting. So it is not common. Gym equipment going with a figure, not very common. So this is something different for once. Up next, from Jigokuraku, we have Yamada Asaemon from Top Fire Studio. This one is going for $430 US. At 1/6 scale, she is completely nude, and I really wish that the company who did the photos for this figure did not use such a dark background, because I am unable to appreciate the details of this figure. Oh yes, of course, you are paying a lot more for the base rather than for the figure, right? I'm not sure if I like this at all. The next one here, this is the top degenerated figure of this week. From XHZ Studio, we have Raiden Shogun 1/6 scale from Genshin Impact for $289 US. So what they are telling me over here is that Raiden Shogun can withdraw her sword from a different location rather than her usual. So is it that a separate dimension down there opened so she can take her sword out? This is one of my top posts in Facebook this week as well, just because of how amusing it is. And that is all I'm going to show you guys. You can check out the pictures on your own. I'm too lazy to censor stuff. Yeah. So $289 for Raiden Shogun taking her sword out from her secret garden. Would you go for this one? Let me know down in the comments below. Up next, another degenerate figure from TXS Studio. This is something we expect from this studio, by the way. Original Novice, none. No price yet and no pictures yet. So wait for product pictures before deciding whether to buy or not. Up next, from 8th Day Studio, we have Pura from The Legend of Zelda. So the full price of this at 1/6 scale is $175 US, which is actually plenty reasonable. Now, Legend of Zelda. The only thing I know is Link. Yeah, and I'm not familiar with other characters even. This character over here, I don't think there are any genuine figures of her. So once again, a third-party company is stepping in. The face and the sculpt on the lips region, right, looks fantastic over here. Yeah, this is not a bad purchase for those of you who love The Legend of Zelda. This is a good one. Up next, another degenerate figure. This one is a close second behind that Raiden Shogun. So we have Eternal Studio and Meow Knight Studio, a figure of Goto Hitori revealed at midnight from Bocchi the Rock. This one is going for $193 US at 1/6 scale. Now, being the kind of social recluse that Hitori Goto is, I have a hard time imagining her doing something like this in the middle of a street at night for the public to see. But then again, this might be one of the few ways you can try in order to overcome the social anxiety issues you might have in the public. Or at least this figure seems to suggest over here. Check out the other photos on your own, right? Up next, from XWL Studio, we have, Yadomaru Lisa from Death Boundary Bleach. This one is going for $155 only. At 1/6 scale, there was another figure of her just a week or two ago. Yeah, not a very detailed figure as you can see, but then the price reflects that. And yeah, you're getting a separate bust figure over there. I think you are allowed to swap the head out, right? Should be. So $155, yeah, there you go. $155 is not really a bad price, but then again, the paint work doesn't seem to be outstanding in any way, just flat painting, no shading of any kind. Yeah. Up next, we have Chainsaw Man Makima by 6 Studio. This one is going for $504 at 1/4 scale. This is type A. Yeah. Doesn't look very good, doesn't it? Compared to the one made by Dodomo Studio. Yeah, that Dodomo Studio version was crazy popular. And then there is a type B, which is also a degenerate version. There you go. Yeah. And you can get both for $752. So we take a look at the pictures over here. Yeah, this one just doesn't look as good compared to the one made by Dodomo Studio, ironically, when I had so much complaints about the Marin Kitagawa figure made by Dodomo Studio. This one does not even look like Makima. There we go, we have an actual product picture. Very interesting. I mean, if we look at this as merely a figure and not as Makima, then the sculpting on the head is very well done. But if you were to tell me this is Makima, I don't see this as Makima at all. Doesn't look like Makima at all to me. Yeah. Up next, we from Figurama Collectors, this is actually a licensed resin figure brand, Devilman Siren. So the full price on this is $1,239, which is really no surprise. This thing is massive, this is huge, and wow, look at the amount of details. Even as a fan of details on figures, this is a bit too much to me, I think. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of demonic stuff. Depending on what kind, you know, like in those edgy anime like High School DxD, that gets a thumbs up from me, but not this. Up next, from KK Studio, we have Yorha Type A number 2 from Nier Automata. This one is going for 2,000. I've been filming for 4 hours by now, including other videos, so my brain is stopping to work properly. $268. Yeah, my brain fart moment right there. This is 1/6 scale at $268. Definitely not the best Yorha number 2 figure I've seen, but hey, I'm not sure if I like the short hair version, you know. I've seen better figures of number 2 from Nier Automata for sure. Up next, from Fang Blue GK Studio, we have original character number 21. This one is going for $619 for the nude version, and then the premium version is $736, which I presume is this picture we're looking at over here. Is this a 1/4? It has to be, right? 68 centimeters. This is like 1/3 scale even. Okay, this has to be an action figure of some kind, right? At 1/3 scale. So check out the pictures on your own. To me, I don't find this figure to be very appealing in any way. Up next, another degenerate figure from Kiss Me Studio. We have Genshin Impact Execution Table Series number 1, Choking Raiden Shogun. Man, the kind of funny ideas these third-party resin figures companies can come up with, man. $388. This is really pricey. Okay. No scale mentioned other than the overall height is, well, 44 centimeters. I think this is only 1/6 scale. You need to factor in the entire setup over here. So yeah, are you into this kind of figures? Let me know. In one single week, there are 3 or 4 degenerate Raiden Shogun figures. You have to think. Maybe the fans of Genshin Impact are also a weird bunch of people in some way. And the last figure for today, from Sunbird Studio, Yeah, we have Kamisato Ayaka from Genshin Impact. There is 1x4 and 1x6 skill options for this one. 1x4 skill $384 US, very reasonable. 1x6 skill $177 US. When it comes to Kamisato Ayaka, yeah, I would go for the one made by Apex Toys. So that is one thing. So if I were to have a second figure of her from a third party, I would go for 1x4 skill for this one, just to have something a bit more different than a typical 1x7 skill PVC figure from a genuine figure brand. This one is a very simple figure in Japanese school uniform, but then again, this is Kamisato Ayaka, this is Genshin Impact, so I can see this one selling quite a few as well. And that concludes this week's Figure News Fix for 26th of June to 1st of July 2023. As I mentioned just a minute ago, 4 hours in and counting. That is so much recording I'm doing today, including other videos. So which figure will you pre-order this week? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this figure news video today, this is a very long one, please give this video a like, a thumbs up, and consider subscribing to this channel for more content like this in the future. Until then, see you guys again very soon. Goodbye.